They say knowledge is power. But what happens when that knowledge is destroyed? Not by accident, but intentionally. Today, we dive into one of history's greatest and most tragic mysteries, the lost Library of Alexandria. It was the treasure of human knowledge, a beacon in the ancient world. And its destruction left a question that still haunts us. What information was erased? And more importantly, who wanted it gone? The story begins in Egypt. Around 300 BC, Alexander the Great had just conquered the known world. And his successor, Ptolemy I, had a dream. He wanted to gather all the knowledge of the world, every book, every scroll, every piece of wisdom, and store it in one magnificent place. This wasn't just a building with shelves. The Library of Alexandria was the brain of civilization. Scholars, scientists, historians, philosophers, and mathematicians were invited from Greece, Persia, India, and beyond. They were given everything they needed to study, debate, and write. The mission to collect knowledge was aggressive. Every ship that docked in Alexandria's harbor was searched. If they carried scrolls, those scrolls were confiscated, meticulously copied by scribes, and the copies were added to the library's collection. At its peak, it's estimated the library held nearly 700,000 scrolls. This was, without a doubt, the greatest collection of knowledge in human history. It was the ancient world's internet, university, and national archive all rolled into one. So, what exactly was inside? What priceless information did those 700,000 scrolls contain? Based on what we know, it held the complete and uncensored histories of ancient civilizations, many of which are now lost to us. It contained mathematical theories that Europe wouldn't rediscover for another 1,000 years. There were early concepts of robotics and steam-powered mechanics, documented by brilliant inventors like Hero of Alexandria. It held maps of lost lands and forgotten kingdoms, charting a world we can now only guess at. It contained scientific knowledge that was centuries, maybe even millennia, ahead of its time. And of course, there were philosophical writings that could challenge the very foundations of religion and politics. But then there are the more tantalizing theories. Some researchers speculate that the library contained information about ancient advanced technologies that defy our understanding of the past. Others believe it held the true story of human origins, a narrative very different from what we're told today. And perhaps most intriguing, there are theories that it contained knowledge from civilizations even older than Egypt, remnants of a forgotten, prehistoric golden age. Imagine the secrets held within those papyrus rolls, the answers to questions we are still asking today. The first major blow came in 48 BC, and the culprit was none other than Julius Caesar. During a civil war in Egypt, Caesar found himself besieged in Alexandria. In a desperate move, he ordered the burning of enemy ships in the harbor. But the fire was uncontrollable. It leaped from the ships to the docks, then to the warehouses along the waterfront, and ultimately, it reached the library. Ancient accounts, though debated, paint a devastating picture. Some say the flames raged for 6 months. 6 months. Think about that. A fire burning for half a year, fueled by the accumulated wisdom of the human race. How much knowledge was turned to smoke and ash? How many secrets vanished forever in that single catastrophic event? But the tragedy didn't end there. The story of the library's destruction is not one single event, but a death by 1,000 cuts. Over the centuries that followed Caesar's fire, the library was partially rebuilt, restocked, and revived. It remained a center of learning, though perhaps a shadow of its former self. The final, fatal blow came around 391 AD. By this time, the Roman Empire had officially embraced Christianity, and a new, fervent ideology was sweeping the land. The library, with its vast collection of pagan philosophy, mystical texts, and scientific works from different cultures, was seen as a threat. The Archbishop, Theophilus of Alexandria, a powerful and zealous figure, declared its contents heretical. He incited a mob of Christian followers, who stormed the Serapeum, a sister temple, and the last great remnant of the library. They destroyed it. This was not an accident of war. This was intentional, systematic censorship. Knowledge that was deemed dangerous or contrary to the new dogma was targeted and deliberately erased from history. This brings us to the real mystery. Why? Why would anyone want to destroy knowledge? The answer, many believe, is simple. Power and control. Knowledge challenges authority. It encourages people to ask questions, to think for themselves, and to doubt the narratives handed down by those in charge. Imagine if the world in 300 BC had widely accepted that the earth revolved around the sun, an idea proposed by Aristarchus of Samos, whose work was housed in the library. What would that have done to religions built on a geocentric model? What if advanced medical knowledge, free from superstition, had become common practice, undermining the authority of faith healers? What if people had access to blueprints for ancient technologies, or maps of continents unknown to the ruling empires? These ideas could have toppled empires, dismantled religions, and shifted the balance of power forever. So, rather than letting that knowledge spread, they burned it. Let's explore some of the most fascinating theories about what specific knowledge was lost forever. First, advanced mathematics and engineering. Some historians suggest the library held formulas and mechanical principles we are only now rediscovering. Perhaps even the knowledge to build automated machines or complex astronomical devices. Second, the histories of lost civilizations. Did the library contain detailed accounts of Atlantis, Lemuria, or other advanced prehistoric cultures that modern archaeology dismisses as myth? Third, secret histories. We know that history is often written by the victors. The library may have contained the true, unaltered accounts of rulers, dynasties, and events that were later rewritten for political purposes. Fourth, what some might call forbidden knowledge. These were texts on alchemy, metaphysics, the nature of consciousness, and esoteric practices that have since been relegated to the realm of fiction. And finally, lost technologies. The Antikythera mechanism, a complex astronomical computer from that era, proves such technology existed. What other blueprints, perhaps for steam engines, primitive batteries, or forms of automation, were detailed in the scrolls that were burned? Now, pause for a moment and just imagine. Imagine a world where the Library of Alexandria never burned. What would our world look like today? With that concentrated knowledge spreading through civilization, we might have cured diseases centuries earlier. We might have understood electricity 1,000 years before Edison. The scientific revolution could have started in ancient times, not the 16th century. We might have skipped the Dark Ages entirely. Humanity might have reached space during the medieval era. It's not an exaggeration to say that our civilization could be hundreds, if not thousands, of years more advanced than it is now. That is the true scale of what was lost. A great reset button was pushed on human progress. In 2002, a new, magnificent library, the Bibliotheca Alexandrina, was opened in Egypt, near the site of the original. It's a beautiful building, a stunning piece of modern architecture, and a symbol of the world's enduring respect for knowledge. But it is just that, a symbol. We can rebuild the building, but we can never get back the knowledge that was lost. We can never recover the minds that wrote those scrolls, or the unique wisdom they contained. That knowledge is gone forever, existing only as a ghost in our history. And so, we are left with the lingering question: was the destruction of the Library of Alexandria one of history's greatest accidents, a tragedy of war and circumstance? Or was it a deliberate, calculated erasure of human knowledge, designed to keep humanity in the dark? Was this the moment our progress was intentionally reset? We may never know for sure. But the mystery serves as a powerful reminder. Civilizations rise, knowledge grows, but sometimes, someone decides that we are not ready for the truth. Now, I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, do you think the library was destroyed by accident? Or was it a deliberate plot to suppress knowledge? And what piece of lost information do you wish we could recover the most? Let's discuss it below. Thanks for watching.